Hi, everybody. Today is Thursday, August 25th, 2022. I am Man Who Needs Haircut, and today we are back doing some more Elixir Exercism. Yesterday, we did regular expressions, and we were deflated by our inability to get that done in a quick manner. Today, I'm hoping for something a little better. Today, we're going to be talking about the keyword list concept. So keyword lists are key value data structures. Basically, they look like this, where you got a hard bracket, month, colon, then a value like string like April, year, colon, and a integer value 2018. Keyword lists are a list of key value tuples and can also be written as such, but the shorter syntax is more widely used. So this is where like one of the first things. So like the syntax for keyword list, when I first started Elixir, felt weird. It felt weird that we had these rules about atoms where, like, normally in atom you put a colon and then you use the term, but like when you're using keyword list, it's the opposite. Um, I don't really have any explanation for like why those choices were made, but that's what we have. I think it does make the syntax look a little prettier. Um, but it does get a little used to because it feels like there's this rule in the language and then the language is breaking that rule. So if you feel a little weird about that, I think that's normal. So here they have the keyword list, and basically these are equal. A keyword list is just a list of tuples, and the tuples have a rule. So the tuple has to start with an atom, and then the value can be whatever you want, an integer or string in this case. Um, Keys in keyword lists must be atoms, but the values can be anything. Each key can be used more than once. That's important. The key value pairs in a keyword list are ordered. That is also important. You can work with keyword lists using the same approaches for a list, or you can use the keyword module. So, this is the keyword module. It's got all kinds of fun functions that you can use to manipulate stuff, but it is just a list, and so you can use those as well. I'll make a point of showing off the guide. So when you go to the Elixir language website, you'll see a section for guides, and there is a chapter 7, keyword list and maps, and this kind of goes over some basic concepts. Down here, I think it's important to like one of the early questions I think people run into is like trying to decide, when do I want to use a map and when do I want to use a list. So the important things to keep in mind is that like keys must be atoms for a keyword list, so that enforces a little bit more structure. The keys are ordered as specified by the developer. That may or may not come into play. And then the other one, and this is probably the one that I think makes the biggest difference, the keys can be given more than once. So this is an example that's taken from the Ecto library, which is used for database kind of like abstraction. And you can see that like they start this query, they generate this query, and they pass in multiple keyword list. And in this case, the way the formatter works, and this again leads to some kind of early confusion, is a lot of times when you have a keyword list and it only has like one item or entry, it'll omit the brackets entirely. So, but you can see here like there's this is a keyword list and it has two wheres, like takeaway there. So, generally speaking, just start using it, and you'll kind of see how it's used in like standard library and stuff, and you'll understand what the kind of the language norms are. So, with that said, we're going to work on the example wine cellar. The instructions: you are a manager of a fancy restaurant that has a sizable wine cellar. A lot of your customers are demanding wine enthusiasts. Finding the right bottle of wine for a particular customer is not an easy task. As a tech-savvy restaurant owner, you decide to speed up wine selection process by writing an app that will let guests filter your wines by their preference. All right. So with that said, we'll copy the example. We'll download it locally. Open it in VS Code. And we'll open up the library, create some panes, the test file over here. We'll put the README over here and collapse the wine cellar test described so we can run them cursor a little bit easier. All right. A bit bigger. Help out a little. All right, cool. So explain what wine colors. On the welcome screen of your app, you want to display a short explanation of each wine color. Implement explain colors argument 0 function. It takes no arguments and returns a keyword list with wine colors. A little smaller, so we can see it. And explanation white, red, rose. Okay. So color. So this is just going to return the keyword list. It's going to start with white, and it's going to have a string value describing, and then we'll just keep this going. Red, and then it's going to be fill those in later. When you're working in an editor, you can often because the formatter will try to format the code. So the first thing is when I hit save, the VS code is running this through the standard Elixir formatter. And that formatter will look at your current kind of structure to kind of hint how it should handle things. So like if you've got a lot of space right here and you hit save, it'll collapse that. But if you insert a new line and hit save, it'll automatically take the assumption that you want that broken there and kind of reformat it appropriately. So, all right, cool. So we're going to put in these concepts, these descriptions of wine, and just, yeah, we can test explain color. We're going to test at cursor. Got a real big thing. All right, cool. So that works. Now we got filter. There's only one filter, but I assume we're going to do a lot of stuff. Collapse that. Cut all wines of a given color. A bottle of wine is represented as a 3 tuple of grape, variety, year, and country of origin. The wines are stored by wine color in the keyword list. So, example, you'll have this keyword list. It's going to have white, red, rose, and so you can see we have multiple elements using the white stuff, and then the value is going to be just a tuple of multiple values. Okay. Implement winecellar.filter function. It should take a keyword list of wines, color by the. It should take a keyword list of wines, a color atom, and a keyword list of options with the default value. The function should return a list of wines for a given color. So, for example, if you say filter and you're given this chunky thing and say white, you would just get back a list of tuples like that. Okay. Okay. So let's see here. Let's look at the this module. So you can see there is a function called getValues. Given this keyword list, give me all the values appropriate to A. And that should do what we want to do. Keyword list get values. So given Cellar, options underscore. Get rid of the one. That might work. Let's see. Works for an empty. We'll test these one by one. Actually, we're just gonna test all in file, and we'll take the list. Oh, I want to do all. Excluded. Why? Oh, I'm not. I don't have Test Watch installed. Run all test on file. So we got lots of stuff down here. So this works for an empty cellar. This works for all wines of a chosen color. This does not do by year because I've not done anything. So now we'll do number 3. Get all wines of a given. This small. Get all wines of a given color bottled in a given year. Extend the filter function when given the year option. The function should return a list of wines for a given color from a given year. Use the already implemented filter by year function. It takes a list of wines and a year as arguments and returns a list of wines. Okay. Okay. So how do we want to do this? Wines year. We could start it with the cellar, and then we would just say like filter by year, and we need to pass it the year, and so that would just be keyword dot gets gets the value under the gets value under the key, returns the default value if key does not exist, nil if no default value is provided. Yeah, I think that's what we want. If duplicate entries exist, it returns the first one. Yeah, I think that's what we want. Get OPTS, and we're looking for year, and then we just pass that to get values. It is blowing up. It's all wines of a chosen color. Filter by year. Um, no function matching wine cellar filter by year /2. It was given nil, but I think nil that should work, right? Like you should be able to tell it to filter. I mean, the only other thing I can think of is like you would only do it if they provided you. I mean, you could do that. Extend filter function given a year option. Um, um, so I assume when they say the way they write this, when a given year's option should read, they basically want us to look in the options before we call filter. We call it. Which is fine. You could do that. You could do. I mean, you could do a like cellar equals like if keyword key year do. I just want do. Why does it do overwritable? Um. Cellar. I mean, this is one way you can say, if keyword, we need to say list. PTS. I wish they would call it options. Sure. That is a language norm, so I get used to that. But if the keyword list has options, then we're going to immediately filter the seller by year, the values down there. Test and see how this works. Nil. Good. Called. It gave it a nil value. How did it end up with nil value? Alright, let's test these one by one and see how this is not working for us. Alright. Test. Run a cursor. That failed. So given an empty list, empty cellar, and asking for rows, you expect it to find an empty, and it doesn't. That's because ops does not have key. Oh, so we need an else. Cellar. That's what we need. Alright, that looks good. Return all one. That looks good. Filter one. Chosen color by fails. No function clause matching and filter by year. Development arguments were given to one cell or filter by years \2 the list white row white in 2015, and so it wasn't empty, and then it tried to match these other two. And none of them matched. I don't like this because it's like it's asking me. I mean, I guess this is real. This is reasonable considering the programming. Because you're gonna walk into programs all the time where you did not write the. I almost wish it would have asked me to write them, because then I would like have them in my head. Get. Year is 2015. It's not nil. Alright, so this filter by year takes the wine, takes the cellar, and then when the wine list is empty, just return. When the wine list is not empty, take wine, decompose the year, and then you're also going to have year here. Then you're going to call filter by year. It doesn't like. I'm surprised it doesn't have like a when clause, like when like wine year equals like when year equals target year. It would only because it seems curious to me that you have the same variable twice in the list. I guess that means that they match, but normally I wouldn't expect. I don't know. That seems weird. I feel like I'd have to be more expressive about that. I mean, I feel like that's what's going on because, like, if they match, then they take the wine and they put it in the front of this list and they just continue filtering. And the whole idea is like it drops, and that's how they get the list. But what do they want? They just want the. Yeah, I need to do something with the Cellar before I do this. I think I need to get the values beforehand because that's all they want. Also, it would be nice if like you had a specification in line docs that would say this is um because this is failing number 45. So this is the Cellar, white rose, and then yeah, what they're asking for is just the list. They're not asking for it. I mean, this is what's breaking my head. Like they're not asking for the Cellar is like this structured format, but then like when you call filter, you get back this list. It's really weird to me because like the standard Elixir idiom is like if you've got a module and you've got a function call and the first thing you pass in is the structure like connection, whatever object, the query, the return value should match the same one. So it feels weird that it's um so we'll do this change up. So we'll say these are the values and then the values if we have the option, it'll filter the values by that. If not, well, let's test at cursor. Yeah, and that works. So I get it. That just doesn't align with my expectations. And I come into this as somebody who's already been using Elixir, so maybe that's against me for this moment, but so be it. All right, let's close this and let's see number 4 here. Extend filter function when given a country option. The function should return a list of wines for a given color of a given color from a given country. Used already implemented filter by country. The wine country argument. Make sure the function works when given both year and country options in the order. Um, in any order. I wish these filter by years would allow you to do. I wish they would have like an argument block on the year because that way I could probably just change in a pipe a lot easier. But I'm not supposed to modify them. Um, uh, I'm gonna do this a real ugly way. Let's see. Copy this style values, and then tree. Man, is that ugly. this. Boy, do I. Alright, let me all the five. On all tests. Yeah, they all pass. Alright. How can we make this cleaner? So you have to get the values. Like, I understand that. You could do, like, you could start this off Cellar and pipe that in keyword values. That makes sense. And then you could do a thing like, you can't just call filter by year. Like, that's what I wanted. Like, I want to just say filter by year and then do like the option stuff, which, like, there's another way to do the options. Yeah, you can't, because all of these they're not explicit about year. They all assume year has a value. Um, I don't this. No, you can't pipe that into. It doesn't make sense. Um, what is a nicer way to clean this up? What have we learned recently? You could case them. We learned recently. This express was locked by if. We're using if. I just don't like that solution. This is really funky. Um, like here's like I would this here's how like you could do it. Define P, like maybe filter by year, and this would take two values. Like uh it would take the wines and it would take the year, and it would be like when is nil year. Or you could just pattern match it into nil. Um, do wines. Otherwise, call. Otherwise, you would call filter by year. You'd say wines. Up here, you would just say, you'd give it the option. So you'd say, look for year. If not, that'll just be nil. And then you could do another one. for tree, tree, back. We're not using if, but we don't need to use if. File failures. Yeah, they all pass. I mean, that looks better to me. I'm always like I'm always iffy on the maybe prefix on functions. I've seen that, and I'm always. I feel like that reads a little bit better. All right, let us submit and see what the internet has to say about this solution. Passed. Let's take a look at community solutions. So this one, keyword get values, filter by year, ops, filter by year, wines. Yeah, they just introduced. You see, because it said the function you do not need to be modified. Like if I'm writing another thing, I feel like I'm modifying it. I mean that's a great solution. I love that. That is the optimal solution. I don't know. That felt a little out of scope based off the instructions. This one uses a then, which is a newer, newer Elixirism. Valid, but not very clear. This code needs a lot of thought to like construct this. And this one, filter options, get values, enum reduce. Interesting. Enum reduce. We haven't learned enum yet. So it's a little out of bounds, I think. Year, country, get values. If you that's valid. Cool. All right, I think we're gonna go with our solution, and we'll mark it as complete, and we will publish. And we have completed wine cellar. We've keyword list. We've unlocked structs. We've unlocked remote control car exercise, and get to those next time. Cool. Well, I want to thank you all for watching. Today's lesson went a lot better than yesterday's, which is great. Yeah, if you have any questions, definitely let me know. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Bye bye.